The rain hammered against the window like it was trying to break in, mirroring the storm raging inside my chest. I collapsed onto the edge of my bed, the breakup text from Jordan still burning on my phone screen. It's not you, it's the distance. We both knew this was coming. But it wasn't the distance. It was me, always too afraid to say what I really felt. That's when the door creaked open and Hunter stood there, his broad shoulders filling the frame, eyes narrowing at the mess of tissues on my floor. Aiden, you look like hell. What's got you unraveling like this? I wiped my face, forcing a laugh that came out more like a choke. Hunter had been my roommate for 6 months now, ever since I fled the cramped chaos of my ex's apartment in Capitol Hill, and answered his Craigslist ad for a spare room in this creaky old Victorian in Fremont, Seattle. The place smelled like fresh coffee and pine from the evergreens outside, a far cry from the sterile buzz of my graphic design job downtown. Hunter was the opposite of me in every way. 27, built like he could bench press a kayak, with sun-kissed tan skin from summers back in Austin, Texas, and a easy grin that hid whatever demons he carried. We'd bonded over late-night tacos and bad horror flicks, but never crossed that invisible roommate line. Until tonight. It's nothing, I muttered, but my voice cracked, betraying me. He stepped inside, closing the door softly, his flannel shirt clinging a bit from the drizzle he'd walked through. Bullshit. Spill it, or I'll make you. I hesitated, then blurted it out, the fight with Jordan, the ghosts of our half-hearted promises, the way I'd always held back because loving someone felt like handing them a loaded gun. Hunter listened without interrupting, his dark eyes steady, and when I finished, he sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Man, you deserve better than that ghosting crap. Look, you're knotted up worse than a sailor's rope. Let me give you a massage. My old man was a rancher. He taught me how to work out the kinks. I blinked, heat creeping up my neck. A massage? From Hunter? The thought sent a forbidden spark through me. One I'd buried deep since the day I moved in and caught him shirtless in the kitchen, muscles rippling as he chopped onions. But my shoulders ached from hunching over my laptop all week, and the idea of his hands, strong, callous from weekend hikes, eased something raw in me. You sure? I don't want to make it weird. He chuckled, low and warm. Weird is my middle name, Aid. Strip down to your shorts and lie face down. I'll grab the oil. 10 minutes later I was prone on my bed, the room dimmed by the street lamp filtering through the blinds, the scent of eucalyptus oil cutting through the rain's petrichor. His hands landed on my back like a promise, firm, deliberate, thumbs pressing into the knots between my shoulder blades. I exhaled, melting into the mattress, but as he worked lower, tracing the curve of my spine, awareness bloomed unbidden. His breath was steady, close enough that I felt its warmth on my skin. Relax, he murmured, voice rougher than usual. I've got you. But I couldn't fully let go. Every glide of his palm stirred memories I'd locked away. Stolen glances in the hallway, the way he'd linger during our movie nights, his knee brushing mine. Seattle's perpetual gray had a way of blurring lines, making isolation feel intimate. I was gay, out to a few friends but not my conservative folks back in Spokane and Hunter. Well, he'd never said. Rumors from his Texas drawl hinted at exes, but nothing concrete. His fingers dug into my lower back, and I bit my lip to stifle a sound that was half pain, half something else. That hurt? He asked, pausing. No, I lied, voice muffled by the pillow. Feels good. Too good. The room felt smaller, charged like the air before thunder. He shifted, his thigh pressing against the bed's edge, and I imagined what it would be like if he didn't stop at my hips. The thought terrified and thrilled me in equal measure. When he finally pulled away, the absence of his touch left me colder than the rain outside. Better? He asked, capping the oil bottle. Yeah. Thanks, man. I sat up, avoiding his eyes, heart pounding. He lingered by the door, towel-draped hands flexing. Anytime. Get some sleep, Aiden. Tomorrow's a new storm. He left, and I lay there, staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out like veins, wondering if I just cracked something open between us that could never be sealed again. The next morning, sunlight pierced the clouds, a rare Seattle gift, and I found Hunter in the kitchen, flipping pancakes with the radio crooning some old Springsteen tune. He slid a plate my way, syrup dripping golden. Sleep okay? His casualness disarmed me, But there was a new undercurrent, like we'd shared a secret. Better than in weeks, I admitted, digging in. Work dragged that day. Endless revisions for a tech startup's rebrand, pixels blurring into the ache in my temples. By evening I dragged home soaked, dreams of Hunter's hands haunting me like a half-remembered melody. He was on the couch when I walked in, legs sprawled, nursing a beer and scrolling his phone. "Rough one?" he asked, patting the cushion beside him. I nodded, peeling off my wet jacket, the vulnerability from last night still raw. We fell into our routine takeout tie, debating the Mariners' slim playoff chances, but midway through my shoulders seized again, a reminder of the tension I carried like armor. "Hey," I said, tentative about that massage. "Could you maybe do my neck? It's killing me." His eyes met mine, holding a beat too long. "Yeah, bedroom or here?" The living room felt too exposed, so we migrated to my space, the same bed where it started. This time I sat on the edge, shirt off, his knees bracketing my hips as he knelt behind me. The oil was warmer, slicker, his breath syncing with mine. "Tell me if it's too much," he whispered, thumbs circling my nape. But it wasn't too much, it was everything. His fingers trailed down my arms, accidental brushes igniting nerves I didn't know I had. I closed my eyes, leaning back into him, the solid wall of his chest a temptation I shouldn't indulge. "Aiden," he said softly, hands stilling. I turned my head, our faces inches apart, his brown eyes stormy with something unspoken. The air thickened, rain pattering like applause for what came next. He leaned in, lips brushing mine. Not a kiss but a question. I answered by closing the gap, soft at first, then desperate, tasting salt and need. His hands cupped my face, pulling me deeper, and for a moment the world narrowed to this, us unraveling. We broke apart, breaths ragged. "Shit," he muttered, forehead against mine. "I've wanted that since you moved in." Confession spilled then in hushed tones. His own hidden truths, a closeted youth in Texas where faggot was whispered like a curse. A string of flings that never stuck because fear always won. I shared mine, the parental silence, the exes who left because I couldn't fully show up. It wasn't just a kiss, it was permission, a bridge over the chasm we'd both pretended wasn't there. That night, we didn't sleep in separate beds. His body fit against mine like it had always belonged, arms wrapping me in the dark, whispers weaving through the rain. Dawn brought coffee and shy smiles, the Victorian house feeling less like a rental and more like home. But as we navigated the newness, stolen touches over breakfast, his hand on my thigh during a hike along the Burke-Gilman Trail, doubt crept in. Was this real or just rebound fog? Hunter's phone buzzed more than usual, texts he dismissed with a wave, but I caught the flicker of unease in his eyes. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Lazy Sundays at Pike Place, stealing bites of his salmon from the market, evenings tangled in sheets that smelled of us. He opened up about his family, a rancher dad who'd never understand, a mom who sent care packages of pecan pie but skirted anything personal. I showed him my sketches, half-formed dreams of illustrating children's books with queer heroes. Love bloomed quiet, fierce in the spaces between. But Seattle's fog has a way of hiding cracks, and one evening, as we walked home from a dive bar in Ballard, his phone lit up with a name that stopped me cold. "Tyler, incoming call." He silenced it, but the damage was done. "X?" I asked, voice steady despite the twist in my gut. Hunter nodded, jaw tight. "From Austin. We ended messy last year. Thought it was done." That night, as his hands roamed my skin, not in massage but in affirmation, the ghost lingered. I pushed it down, savoring the way he murmured my name like a prayer. But seeds of conflict take root in silence, and ours was about to fracture wide open. The call from Tyler came again the next day. While I was buried in a client pitch at the co-working space in South Lake Union, Hunter texted me a simple, handled it. "Dinner tonight." With a heart emoji that eased the knot but not entirely. I replied with a thumbs up, focusing on mood boards splashed with Puget Sound blues, trying to outrun the unease. By the time I got home, the kitchen was alive with the sizzle of grilling salmon, his Texas twist on Pacific Northwest fare, and he greeted me with a kiss that tasted like forgiveness. We ate on the back porch, fairy lights strung against the ivy-covered fence. The city hummed distant under the evergreens. "Tyler's just tying up loose ends," Hunter said, spearing a floret of broccoli. Some shared crap from the ranch he wants back. No big deal. I nodded, but the name echoed, a reminder that our story, for all its intensity, was built on borrowed time. That night lovemaking felt like anchoring. Slow, deliberate. His body over mine, a map I traced with lips and fingers, memorizing every scar from childhood falls and rodeo mishaps. You're mine now, I whispered against his collarbone, and he held me tighter as if to make it true. But the past doesn't dissolve so easily. A week later, I came home early from a freelance gig that tanked. Client ghosted mid-contract, and found Hunter on the couch, laptop open to old photos. He slammed it shut, but not before I glimpsed sun-bleached images. Him and Tyler, arms slung around each other at a dusty fairground, grins wide and unscarred. Nostalgia trip? I asked lightly, dropping my bag. He rubbed his eyes, feigning exhaustion. Yeah, sorting through emails. Ranch stuff. Lies have a texture. Rough like unsanded wood, and this one scraped. I let it slide, curling into him for a movie. Some indie flick about lost boys in the Midwest, but my mind wandered to my own ghosts. Jordan had texted once, a half apology that I deleted unread. Hunter was different, solid here. Yet doubt whispered that solidity could crumble. The turning point came on a crisp October Saturday, when we drove out to Discovery Park for a hike. Seattle's forests wrapped us in emerald silence, ferns brushing our calves as we climbed the loop trail. His hand in mine felt like defiance against the world, and at the bluff overlooking the sound, with fairies cutting silver paths, he dropped to one knee, not proposal but play, tying my shoelace with exaggerated chivalry. Laughter bubbled up, free and light, until his phone vibrated in his pocket. He ignored it, pulling me close for a kiss that salted with sea air. But the buzz persisted, insistent as a hornet. Answer it, I said, stepping back. He did, face paling as Tyler's voice crackled through. Hunter, man, I need to talk. In person. I'm in Portland, be there tomorrow. The call ended and Hunter's shoulders sagged. He flew out. Says it's urgent about the land Dad left. Urgent. The word hung like fog. I swallowed jealousy, forcing support. Go. Handle it. I'll be here. He left at dawn, the apartment echoing without him. I threw myself into work, sketching feverishly. Two figures entwined against a stormy skyline, vulnerability in their eyes. Text trickled in. Landed safe. Miss you already. But by evening, silence. Panic gnawed. I paced the creaky floors, rain resuming its assault. When he finally called, voice thick, it was to say he'd stay another day. Tyler's. Complicated. We talk, clear the air. Complicated. That night alone, I lay in our bed. His side cold, fingers tracing the indent where he slept, wondering if I'd been naive to believe in us so fast. He returned 2 days later, hollow-eyed, smelling faintly of Portland's craft beer and regret. It's done, he said, dropping his duffel. But the hug he gave me was perfunctory, arms loose. Dinner was strained. Pad thai from the corner spot. Conversation circling weather and work. Finally, in the dim kitchen light, I pressed. What happened, really? Hunter leaned against the counter, fingers drumming. Tyler wants back in. Says he was wrong to leave. That Texas broke us, but we could fix it here. The words landed like a gut punch. And you? I told him no. But his eyes darted, conflicted. That night, sex was frantic. A reclaiming that left us both bruised, emotionally more than physically. His whispers of I love you came too late, after I'd arched under him chasing erasure. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he confessed fragments. Tyler's tears, promises of change, the pull of shared history. But you're my future aid. I swear. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. The next weeks were a tightrope. Deeper intimacy, weekend getaways to the San Juans where we kayaked emerald inlets, his laughter echoing off cliffs. He blocked Tyler's number, or so he said, and we built rituals, morning runs along the locks, watching salmon leap like they were fleeing their own fates. Yet shadows lingered. I'd catch him staring at his phone, thumb hovering, or wake to him murmuring in sleep, names blurred between mine and another's. November brought Thanksgiving and with it a crossroads. My invite to his family's Zoom call, A concession to his mom's pleas, turned sour when his dad grunted through pleasantries, eyes cold on the screen. "Heard you're the artist type," the man said, voice like gravel. "Just don't drag my boy into city nonsense." Hunter ended the call early, face flushed, and we drowned it in whiskey by the fire pit, flames dancing on his features. "They'll never get it," he admitted, head on my shoulder. "But you do. That's enough." It was until it wasn't. The betrayal hit on a gray December eve, 2 months into our blaze. I came home from a holiday market, arms laden with ornaments for our first tree, and found Hunter on the porch, Tyler's car idling at the curb. Their voices carried. Low, urgent, laced with the intimacy of old wounds. "One night," Tyler pleaded. "For old times. No one has to know." Hunter's reply was a whisper I strained to hear. "Aiden's everything. But, yeah, just this once." The world tilted. I backed away, heart shattering like dropped glass, retreating to the kitchen where our mugs steamed side by side. When Hunter finally came in, alone, Tyler's taillights fading, I confronted him, voice steel despite the tears. "How long?" His face crumpled. "Aid, it's not." But I cut him off, the pain lancing fresh. "Don't. Just out," he begged, explanations tumbling. Closure, weakness, a Texas-raised fear of finality. But trust, once cracked, leaks everything good. He packed a bag that night, crashing at a buddy's, leaving the apartment a husk. Days blurred into isolation. Work on autopilot, sketches turning dark, silhouettes fracturing against rain-lashed windows. Friends rallied, brunch at a Capitol Hill cafe, where Lena, my designer pal, squeezed my hand. "He's an idiot. You're gold." But gold tarnishes in doubt. Christmas loomed, lights mocking from every storefront, and I wandered Fremont streets, past the statue of Lenin glaring eternally, wondering if love was just another imported relic, beautiful but out of place. Hunter's texts pleaded. "Let me explain. I fucked up, but I love you." I read them in the dead of night, thumb hovering over delete. The high tide of emotion crested then receded, leaving me adrift. Until New Year's Eve, when a knock shattered the quiet. He stood there, snow-dusted, eyes red-rimmed. "One chance. Hear me out." I let him in, the door clicking like fate's latch. The living room felt like a battlefield, strewn with the remnants of our life. Half-strung lights, a forgotten mug of cocoa crusted at the rim. Hunter shrugged off his coat, movements careful like approaching a skittish animal, which I suppose I was. He sank onto the couch, elbows on knees, hands clasping as if in prayer. "I don't deserve this, Aid. But I'm asking anyway." I stood by the window, arms crossed, the city skyline a glittering accusation beyond the glass. Fireworks popped distantly, premature celebrations mocking the bomb in my chest. "Start with why," I said, voice even. "Why him? After everything." He exhaled, long and ragged, gaze dropping to the rug's faded pattern. "Tyler's my past in flesh, the good, the bad, the boy I was before I knew better. Growing up in Austin, ranch life was black and white. Men worked, loved women, buried the rest. Tyler was my first rebellion, stolen moments in the hayloft, hearts racing like we'd outrun hell. When he left for college, it broke me. Taught me love's a risk you can't afford if you're hiding." I listened, the words carving deeper than I wanted. His vulnerability was a hook, pulling at the part of me that still ached for him. And me? Was I just the safe Seattle version? No baggage, no history to haunt. No. He surged up, closing the distance but stopping short, hands raised in surrender. "You were the revelation. The first time I touched you, that massage, it wasn't pity. It was me seeing myself in your eyes, scared but starving." Tyler's call yanked me back, made me think I could tie off loose ends without losing you. But that night on the porch, God, it was weakness, not want. I went through with it thinking it'd exorcise him, but all I saw was your face. I drove to Portland the next day, ended it for good. Told him we're poison. Tears pricked my eyes, anger warring with longing. "You could have told me before, instead of letting me walk in on your little reunion." The memory flashed. Their shadowed forms, Tyler's hand on his arm, the intimacy I'd never fully claim. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the secrecy, the fracture of trust we'd built stroke by stroke. "I know," His voice broke. I panicked. Thought if I handled it quiet, it'd vanish. But it amplified everything, my fears, yours. I'm not holy. Texas left scars. Dad's rages when he suspected, Mom's Bible verses like shields. Coming here was escape, but you made me want to fight for more. For us. Silence stretched, thick as the fog rolling in from the sound. I sank beside him, the couch dipping under our weight, a ghost of better nights. I love you, I whispered, the admission a release. But love isn't enough if it's laced with lies. How do we rebuild? He took my hand, tentative, thumb tracing my knuckles like a vow. Day by day. Therapy. I've been looking into a group for queer guys from conservative homes. And full transparency. My phone's yours anytime. His eyes, those deep Texas browns flecked with gold, held mine. If you'll have me. New Year's dawned gray but thawing, and we marked it small. Coffee at the kitchen table. His head in my lap as I read aloud from a dog-eared Vonnegut. Words weaving us back together. Work pulled me under. A book cover gig for a coming-out memoir that mirrored too closely. But Hunter was there, steady. Packed lunches with notes scrawled in his blocky print. You're my anchor. Yet healing isn't linear. It zigs and zags. A week later, Tyler emailed, CC'd to both of us, a final gut punch. Photos from Austin, captions dripping nostalgia. For closure, it read. Hunter deleted it without a word, but the poison seeped. That night, doubt flared in bed. His back to me, breaths uneven. You regretting it? I asked the dark. He rolled over, pulling me close. Only that I hurt you. Lovemaking followed, tender this time, exploration over conquest, lips mapping apologies on skin. But morning brought a call from my folks. Mom's voice bright, Dad's gruff, inviting us to Spokane for a family reset. The word hung, unspoken implications heavy. The drive east was a study in contrasts. Seattle's sleek highways giving way to Cascade's snow-capped spines, then the flat expanse of the Palouse, golden fields rolling like waves. Hunter gripped the wheel, jaw set, while I fiddled with the radio, static-laced country twang that made him snort. If Dad starts on politics, just nod and pass the potatoes. Spokane welcomed with biting wind, my childhood home a modest rancher on the South Hill, Christmas lights still twinkling defiantly. Mom hugged us at the door, flour-dusted apron enveloping, her blue eyes sharp as she sized Hunter up. The roommate, she said, smile tight. Dad grunted from the recliner, newspaper barrier high. Dinner was a minefield. Small talk about my art hobby, Hunter's city adventures, skirting the truth like a riptide. Later by the fire, Mom cornered me in the kitchen. He's different. You two seem close. Her tone probed, hopeful yet fearful. The same woman who'd cried when I came out at 19, then pretended it never happened. He's more than a roommate, Mom. The words escaped raw. She paused, pie knife hovering. Oh, honey. Does he make you happy? Tears welled, I nodded. She pulled me into a hug, whispering. Then hold on. Life's too short for half-loves. Dad's reckoning came on the porch, cigars smoldering under stars. Hunter joined us, uninvited but bold. Sir, I love your son. The declaration landed like a stone in still water. Dad's face hardened, pipe clenched. That so? Back home we don't advertise such things. Tension crackled but Hunter held steady. With respect, sir, home's where you make it. And Aiden's mine. Dad's silence stretched, then a gruff. Past the ashtray. Not acceptance but a crack enough. The drive back was lighter, windows down despite the chill. Springsteen's Thunder Road blasting as catharsis. You were brave, I said, hand on his thigh. He grinned, wind-tousled. We both were. Seattle greeted us with drizzle. The apartment a sanctuary. But peace is fleeting. February brought Hunter's job shakeup. A promotion at the outdoor gear shop that meant more travel, sales trips to Bend and Bozeman. The first weekend apart, I paced, sketches piling up. Him against mountain vistas, free and fierce. His calls were lifelines, whispered, I miss your skin. But distance amplified insecurities. When he returned, tanned and tired, we collided in the hallway. Urgency born of absence. Yet in the afterglow, he pulled away, staring at the ceiling. What's eating you? I asked. Tyler texted. From a new number. Says he's sorry, wants friendship. The name again is Spectre. I sat up, sheets pooling. Friendship? After everything. Hunter sighed. I told him no. But it stirs shit up, old habits, the fear I'll always be that scared kid. Conflict simmered, bubbling over in March during a rare sunny spell. We argued at Discovery Park, the same bluff where he'd tied my lace, over nothing and everything. His late nights at work, my withdrawal into projects. You're pulling away. I shouted, wind-whipping words. Like with him. He flinched. And you're waiting for me to bolt like Jordan. Truth sliced both ways, leaving us raw. We parted fuming, him to the trails, me to a bar where Lena found me nursing a stout. Fight or flight? She asked. Fight, I muttered. Hours later he texted a photo. Wildflowers pushing through gravel. Like us. Stubborn. Reconciliation was rain-soaked on our porch. Him soaked, me opening the door. I'm all in, he vowed, pulling me under the awning. Kisses turned to promises, therapy sessions booked. Joint ones, unpacking baggage in a Belltown office with posters of serene fjords. Vulnerability deepened us. His letters from Austin, Dad's reluctant emails. My coming-out journal, pages dog-eared with hope. Spring unfurled. Cherry blossoms dusting Fremont like confetti. We hosted a barbecue. Friends spilling onto the lawn, laughter drowning doubts. But high tides crash hardest. In May, Hunter's dad called. Cancer stage 3. Come home, son. The word home twisted, pulling him east. I went too, solidarity in the passenger seat. The drive a blur of podcasts and pit stops. Austin hit like heat haze. Sprawling ranches, barbecue smoke thick as memory. His family home was weathered wood and wide porches. Mom's pecan pie a bittersweet welcome. Dad was frail in the hospital bed. Eyes softening at Hunter's grip. Brought your friend, he rasped. Hunter's chin lifted. My partner, Dad. Aiden. Silence, then a nod, frail but real. Take care of him, then. Nights in the guest room were hushed grief. Hunter's sobs muffled in my chest, my hands kneading tension from his back. Full circle to that first massage. You're my strength, he murmured. We buried the old man under live oaks, eulogy heavy with unsaid loves. On the flight back, Hunter's hand in mine, he whispered. No more hiding. Summer bloom tentative, our bond tempered like steel. But betrayal's echo lingers, and in July Tyler appeared, uninvited, at our door during a heatwave block party. Heard about your dad. Sorry. Lies in his eyes. Hunter shut him down cold, door clicking final. Yet the intrusion cracked something, sending Hunter spiraling. Late drinks with coworkers coming home bleary. The climax crested in August, storm season aligning with ours. I'd planned a surprise, weekend at a cabin in the Olympics, just us. But he arrived late, bourbon on his breath, packing erratic. Need space, he said, eyes wild. To figure if I'm enough. The words eviscerated. I begged, bartered, but he left, taillights fading into twilight. Alone, the cabin mocked. Empty bunks, lake lapping indifferent. I hiked alone, cliffs echoing my cries. Why wasn't love armor against fear? Days later, a call, him wrecked. I ran to Tyler's hotel. Didn't stay but thought about it. That's the truth. Confession or condemnation. I drove back silent, heart armored. Confrontation exploded in our kitchen. Accusations flying, plates shattering like illusions. You choose fear over us. I yelled. He roared back. And you choose perfection over messy real. Fists clenched, breaths heaving, we circled, lovers turned adversaries. Then collapse, him sliding down cabinets, me joining, sobs sinking. I can't lose you, he choked. Then don't, I replied, hand finding his. From ashes, rebirth. We sought counseling deeper, retreats in the San Juans, writing letters burned in bonfires. Fall leaves turned, mirroring change. Hunter's promotion stabilized, my book illustrations sold, first queer rep in print. Holidays healed. Spokane with rings exchanged in private, mom's tearful toast. Winter's solstice brought clarity under aurora-like lights in Gasworks Park. Marry me? He asked, not on knee but equal, box simple. Hell yes, I said, sealing with salt-laced kiss. Not perfect but human, flawed, free. Our story didn't end in fireworks but quiet dawn. Coffee steaming, hands linked, Seattle waking around us. Love, we learned, isn't absence of storm but dancing in it. Compassion for scars, freedom and truth, identity reclaimed in each other's gaze. We changed forever. The engagement ring, a simple band of weathered silver, etched with coordinates of that Discovery Park bluff, felt heavier than its weight suggested. A talisman against the tempests we'd weathered. Hunter slid it on during that aurora-lit night. His voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. Not because it's time, but because it's us. I traced the engravings, heart swelling with a fullness that bordered ache. Seattle's skyline twinkled conspiratorially, the Space Needle a beacon in the chill, as if the city itself approved our fragile victory. Back home, the apartment transformed into a cocoon of planning. Not lavish weddings but intimate vows in a backyard ceremony, friends and chosen family witnesses. Lena sketched invites, minimalist lines evoking rain-slick streets and tangled limbs, while Hunter's mom sent quilt squares from Austin, embroidered with wildflowers, a silent olive branch. My folks arrived tentative, Dad's handshake firmer, Mom's hugs lingering. "Proud of you, son," he muttered over pie, the words gravel-soft but monumental. Yet joy's underbelly is reflection, and as autumn deepened, old wounds resurfaced. A therapy session unearthed Hunter's lingering guilt. Dreams of Tyler morphing into nightmares of loss, waking him sweat-soaked. "Am I enough?" he'd whisper, my reassurance is a nightly ritual. I shared my own shadows, fear of paternal rejection echoing in client feedback, art feeling forever secondary. We leaned into it, dates turning therapeutic. Poetry slams in the Central District, where verses of queer resilience mirrored our own, or quiet evenings at the aquarium, jellyfish pulsing like heartbeats in the blue. November rains returned with vengeance, flooding basements and canceling hikes, mirroring the internal deluge. Hunter's promotion meant board meetings in Portland, overnight stays that stretched nerves taut. One such trip, I found an old photo in his drawer. Him and Tyler at a rodeo, arms linked defiant. Not hidden malice, just forgotten relic, but it stung like fresh betrayal. I confronted him over video call, screen glitching like our connection. "Why keep it?" He sighed, pixels blurring his regret. "Habit. Like scar tissue, part of me but not defining." We talked through it, raw and reaching, ending with "I love you," echoed across miles. Trust rebuilt brick by brick, but bricks weigh heavy. Thanksgiving anchored us. A potluck at Lena's loft in Belltown, tables groaning under turducken and cornbread, laughter a bomb. Hunter's toast. To chosen fires burning brighter. Drew cheers, his hand under the table a secret anchor. Later, snow flurried rare and magical, we walked home arm in arm. Flakes catching in his hair like stars. In bed, lovemaking was worship. Slow unraveling, breath sinking to the city's hush, bodies affirming what words sometimes faltered. December barreled in with holiday frenzy. My illustrations for a queer holiday anthology deadline looming. Hunter volunteering at a youth center for LGBTQ+ runaways. His Texas drawl coaching basketball with gentle fire. We decorated the Victorian haphazardly. Mismatched ornaments from thrift dives. A tree strung with LED wildflowers. But festivity masked fatigue. Arguments sparked over trifles, whose turn for dishes the thermostat wore. One night, post-party haze, he snapped at my lateness, words sharp. "Always last, like I'm waiting forever." The barb hooked deep, dredging insecurities. "Like you waited for Tyler?" I shot back, venom unintended. Silence iced the room. He stormed to the porch, door slamming echo. I followed, rain mingling with tears. "I'm sorry. We're both tired." He pulled me close, water soaking us through. "No more ghosts. Promise." Under eaves, kisses washed clean, leading to the bedroom where apologies etched in skin. New Year dawned with resolutions whispered at midnight. More presence, less perfection. January's gray tested it. My exhibit opening at a Fremont gallery, canvases of us abstracted, intertwined forms against stormy seas. Hunter's speech halting but heartfelt. Aiden sees souls, mine included. Drew applause, his pride a spotlight warmer than any. Critics praised the raw emotional depth. But validation paled to his gaze across the crowd. Winter thawed into tentative spring. cabin fever breaking with tulip festivals in the Skagit Valley. We drove convertibles through fields ablaze in color, wind therapy for city-worn souls. There, amid blooms, Hunter proposed a twist, elopement to the coast, just us and the officiant, vows sealed by waves. Intimate, he said. Like how we started. I agreed, heart alight. But life's script twists. In April, Mom called, Dad's heart scare. Come now. The flight to Spokane was turbulence-riddled, mirroring dread. Hospital waits blurred, beeps, coffee sludge. Until Dad stabilized, pulling us aside. Saw your art online, he grumbled. Strong stuff. Like you. Hunter's nod earned a rare smile. Take care of each other. Progress inching. May bloomed with our private ceremony at Deception Pass. Salt wind whipping, cliff's dramatic backdrop. Vows exchanged barefoot on pebbles, mine. You massaged more than muscles, my fears, my heart. His. You taught me home's a person, not a place. Rings exchanged, kiss sealed with ocean roar. Honeymoon was the cabin I'd once haunted alone, now filled. Hikes to Solduc Falls, hot springs steaming forgiveness. Summer simmered, routines evolving. Joint yoga in the park, his flexibility mocking my stiffness, laughter easing knots. Hunter's youth center work deepened. Mentoring a kid named Riley, wide-eyed Texan transplant, echoes of his younger self. Paying forward, he said, eyes soft. My book launched to quiet acclaim, signings where fans shared stories mirroring ours. Yet harmony hums with undercurrents. August heat wave trapped us indoors, tempers flaring over air-con settings. A bigger wave, Tyler's letter, forwarded from Austin, apology laced with envy. You found what we couldn't. Hunter burned it in the sink, flames dancing brief. Done, he declared. But ashes linger scent. Fall harvest brought grounding. Apple picking in the Hood Canal, pies baked crooked but sweet. Halloween as ghosts, ironic shedding pasts. November election stirred national unrest, mirroring personal. Hunter's anxiety spiking, news feeds fuel. We unplug, drives to Mount Rainier, snow-capped majesty dwarfing worries. December's solstice circled back, anniversary of proposals. Gasworks Park again, auroras faint but fervent. 1 year. He toasted with thermos mulled wine. Reflections flowed. Betrayals as teachers, conflicts as catalysts. We're human, I said. Flawed but chosen. As 2026 dawned, Seattle stirred anew. Rain softening to mist, evergreen sentinel. Our story no fairy tale but epic. Kinks worked out not just in muscle but soul. Compassion for stumbles, freedom in flaws, identity woven twin thread. Changed forever, yes, but whole. The second year of marriage unfolded like a well-worn path. Familiar contours, but with new vistas at every bend. Hunter's role at the gear shop evolved into management, trips shortening to day jaunts, allowing more evenings tangled on the couch, his fingers absently kneading my shoulders. A habit turned endearment. My illustration career gained traction. A graphic novel deal for a queer road trip saga. Pages alive with road-weary lovers echoing our drives. Success brought its own pressures. Deadlines gnawing, imposter whispers, but Hunter's steady presence was ballast. His "You've got this" a mantra etched deeper than ink. Spring 2026 brought renewal. We adopted a rescue mutt from the shelter, a wiry terrier mix named Scout, all boundless energy and lolling tongue. Walks along the ship canal became rituals, Scout tugging us forward while we lagged, hands brushing. Family, Hunter murmured one dawn. Fog lifting to reveal herons stalking shallows. The word settled warm, expanding our duo into trio. Yet expansion invites exposure. In May, a magazine profile on my work, from hidden strokes to bold lines, outed our story subtly. Photos of us at the gallery, his arm casual around my waist. Backlash trickled. Anonymous emails decrying agenda. A client's hesitant pullback. Hunter fielded it fierce, his Texas steel shining. Let him talk. We're bulletproof. But nights he'd pace, old closeting scars itching. Therapy helped, sessions now monthly, unpacking media's glare like unpacking boxes from a move long past. Summer's heat peaked with a road trip south. Retracing his Austin roots but on our terms. The drive was epic, Interstate 5 hugging coasts, then veering east through sagebrush deserts. Scout rode shotgun, ears flapping while we alternated Springsteen and podcasts on resilience. Crossing into Texas felt like entering a memory. Humidity thick, cicadas chorusing. His mom's ranch welcome tentative, expanded with a guest cottage, pie still pecan-laden. Husbands now, she said, hugging tight. Dad's photo on the mantel a quiet guardian. Family dinner was a milestone. Aunts and cousins, stories swapped over brisket, laughter easing edges. One uncle, voice low, admitted his own hidden life, decades buried. You two give hope, he said, handclasp firm. Hunter's eyes glistened. Later, under stars vast as regrets, we made love in the cottage, windows open to night sounds, reclaiming ground once lost. Fall deepened colors, foliage in the Cascades a riot, our anniversary hike to Heather Lake mirroring firsts. His hand steadying my climb, kisses at the alpine tarn. But autumn winds carried whispers of change. My agent floating a relocation pitch, New York for bigger markets. Think about it, she urged over coffee in Pioneer Square. Hunter's face shadowed that night. NYC? From this. He gestured to our rain-dappled view. The seed planted doubt, conversations circling like hawks. It's opportunity, I argued, pacing the kitchen. But uprooting us, he countered, voice edged. Arguments escalated, me accusing stasis, him clinging to roots. Scout sensed it, whining at doors. Climax brewed in October, storm lashing as we shouted. You're choosing career over us. And you're scared of growth. Silence after was stormier. Him crashing at Lena's, me sketching furious. Fractured landscapes, figures reaching across chasms. Days drag, texts sparse. Miss Scout. Miss you. Heartache honed clarity. I drove to him, rain-slick roads mirroring tears. On her fire escape, soaked and sorry, I said. No move without us. Together or not at all. He pulled me in, kissed desperate. Together. Resolution bloomed in November. We compromised, NYC visits for meetings, Seattle home base. Gratitude deepened intimacy. Winter solstice under holiday lights, vowing adaptability. December's holidays layered joy. Spokane with extended kin. Mom's tree trimming a tradition evolved. Dad's ghost stories now inclusive. 2027 dawned ambitious. Hunter launching a mentorship program at the youth center, pairing queer teens with outdoor adventures. His rodeo grit meets Seattle's wilds. I collaborated on the graphic novel, inking scenes of dusty trails and urban alleys, lovers navigating both. Success swelled. Book tour stops in Portland and San Francisco, Hunter tagging along, hotel nights electric with reunion. Spring brought surprise. Fertility talks, not for kids yet but futures, surrogacy dreams whispered over brunch. A family, he said, eyes bright. Vulnerability peaked in June. Anniversary at Deception Pass. Pebbles warmer, waves a chorus. But joy's flip is fragility. July heat wave unearthed a letter in old boxes. Tyler's unsent, confessing enduring love. Hunter found it first, face ashen. Burned it years ago. How? My stomach dropped, truth tumbled. I'd kept it, foolish talisman of his choice. Proof, I stammered. That you picked me. Betrayal reversed, his hurt mirroring mine from before. Trust again, he asked, voice cracking. Storm brewed, arguments in the park, Scout leashed witness. You hoarded my past like leverage. I guarded our present. Climax crashed. Him storming out, me collapsing on the trail, sobs swallowed by wind. Days of radio silence, then his text. Coffee, please. At the corner shop, steam rising between mugs, we dissected. Fear of loss weaponized into retention. No more vaults, he vowed. Open books. Forgiveness flowed, tentative, rebuilding on honesty. Fall healed. Leaves crunching under therapy walks, unpacking hoarding as control. November elections passed turbulent, but our bubble held, volunteering at polls, hands linked in lines. Winter's cusp brought clarity. Scout's first snow romp, us building forts like kids, laughter thawing frost. 2028 unfolded steadier. Book acclaim led to panels, Hunter's program expanding statewide. Summer road trip east. Yellowstone geysers erupting like emotions purged. Fall harvest. Apple orchard proposals to friends, rings glinting. But life's undercurrents persist. October call from Austin. Mom's diagnosis early but insistent. The drive south was shadowed, hospital vigils a vigil. Her hand in ours frail but fierce. Live loud boys. For me. We did. Scattering her ashes under live oaks. Ranch now a haven for queer retreats, hunter's vision. Grief wove us tighter, December solstice toasts to her. To fierce loves. Years layered stories sediment. Scout graying our lines etching. From massage to matrimony, betrayal to unbreakable. We changed echoes of first rains. Compassion cradles cracks, freedom flourishes in flaws, identity intertwined. Forever altered, eternally us. Decades don't unspool linearly. They fold accordion-like with folds deep as ocean trenches. By 2035, Seattle had evolved. Our Victorian gentrified but stubbornly ours. Creeks familiar as heartbeats. Hunter's hair silvered at temples, laugh lines mapping joys in jagged edges. Mine tousled grayer, hands ink-stained from novels that now graced shelves worldwide. Scout passed gently at 14. Buried under the backyard evergreens, her collar hung by the door like a sentinel. Grief hollowed us brief, filled by fostering. A rotation of pups, each a bridge over absence. Our family grew roots in 2030. Surrogacy birthed Elias, a whirlwind of hazel eyes and hunter's grin. Adopted at birth. Fatherhood reshaped us. Sleepless nights tag-teaming bottles. Dawn walks pushing strollers along the locks. Salmon leaps lessons in persistence. Like us, Hunter said, Elias gurgling agreement. My work shifted. Children's books with queer families adventuring, pages alive with possibility. Panels now included him, our story a touchstone. Love's the ultimate plot twist. But time tempers without erasing. Tyler resurfaced in 2032. A chance encounter at a Portland conference, graying but graceful. Handshake awkward, words careful. Happy for you both. Hunter nodded, arm around me possessive. No drama, just closure's quiet click. Yet it stirred. Therapy revisited, unpacking if forgiveness was full. It is, he affirmed, Elias asleep between us. Conflict crested in 2034, midlife subtle quake. Hunter's program boomed. National grants, travel resuming but burnout shadowed. Late calls, eyes hollow. Am I enough anymore? He confessed one rainy eve, Elias at preschool. My book tour clashed, absences amplifying. Arguments reignited me, jet-lagged, him exhausted. You're drifting. And you're married to the road. Climax unfolded in summer storm. Cabin retreat turned reckoning. Elias with grandparents, us raw. Shouts echoing off pines, tears mixing with downpour. I fear losing you to time, he admitted, voice breaking. To irrelevance. I held him, rain drumming. You're my constant. Always. Bonfire confessions burned bright. Vulnerabilities voiced, dreams realigned, scaling back, prioritizing us. Resolution rooted deep. Sabbaticals synced, family hikes in the Olympics, Elias collecting magic rocks. Fall 2034 brought balance. His book on queer mentorship, my illustrations partnering. Winter solstice, under strung lights, we renewed vows, private pebbles witness. Aged like whiskey, he toasted, kiss spiced with years. By 2040, Elias teenaged, tall, questioning, crushes navigated with our gentle maps. Austin visits evolved. Ranch a legacy, cousins allies in openness. My folks aged gracefully, dad's stories now laced with pride. Hunter's health scare, routine check flagging cholesterol. Prompted pivots. Gardens tended joint, recipes tweaked healthy. Betrayal's ghost faded, replaced by abundance. 2045 marked 20 years. Elopement site revisited, Elias officiating awkward but earnest. You taught me love's work, he said, voice cracking. Party followed, Fremont block bash, friends from first mingling last. Twilight years softened edges. 2050s, a silver-haired, porch swings creaking. Elias married in our backyard. His partner a quiet engineer echoing Hunter's stead. Grandkids tumbled. Little feet pattering, stories recycled. Hunter's hands, once strong kneed, now traced mine, gentle massages mutual, knots of age eased.